Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Hello and welcome back to the Black Business Expo. I am Tyrone Poole. Our next guest will be doing a fireside chat with Grant McGaugh. Our next guest is Dr. Alexis Weeks. Ms. Weeks, Dr. Weeks is a data privacy champion who believes that everyone should own, control, and determine the way their information is protected as well as processed. With 20 years of proven experience in the information technology and risk management arena, she brings forth a lot of information. So it is my honor and my privilege and Black Business Expo's honor and privilege to introduce to you Dr. Alexis Weeks.
Mr. Poole, how are you doing, sir?
How you doing, sir? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm blessed.
Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you. Grant, as they would say, welcome back again.
Thank you.
I'll pass it over to you, Grant, for this great fireside chat with Dr. Weeks.
Absolutely. Hey, Dr. Alexis, how are you doing?
I'm blessed, man. Good to see you again, as always.
Always good. Thank you for being on the show. You know, they say there's a shortage of Black technologists, worldwide. And I'm blessed to know a lot of them that are, and you are one of them. You have been in this particular industry for a very long time. You've chosen cybersecurity as your go-to expertise. You're now, I think, even now that you're pursuing a JD in cybersecurity. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I'm doing a JM in privacy law at Florida State.
Wow, that's awesome. And you do a lot of other things. Talk to us. You came to me like, Grant, I want to talk about reciprocity, which is the theory of reciprocity. And we're talking about how it contributes to career development in the field of cybersecurity, and how you can both an individual and a corporation benefit from its application. Let's start the conversation off there.
Sure. So when we think of the theory of reciprocity, it's the old adage, right? If I help you, you're inclined to more or less return the favor, right? So the whole perspective behind that is, if you invest in my, let's say you invest your time in helping me, I could either in turn around and help you in some way, or I feel inclined to be able to return the favor, right? And if you think of that from a cybersecurity perspective, the ability to address risk at the end of the day is a joint effort, right? I can't do it by myself. You can't do it by yourself. But if I'm able to give you the skills or the tools or some guidance, you may be able to duplicate those efforts. Each one teach one, more or less philosophy.
I like that. I want to talk. Do you have specific examples? I know last time you're on the show, you had brought another, I think one of your students here. So you were working together. There's some collaboration going on. I think you're an inspiration for her and vice versa. Talk to us about each one, teach one. It is a philosophy, and it's how you improve your cybersecurity measures and safeguarding critical infrastructure. But what is it like in practice with the theory of reciprocity? Can you give us some context around that?
Sure. So when you think of the theory of reciprocity from a cybersecurity perspective, one of the things we always look at is the whole issue is, am I swimming alone? Is there an opportunity for us to collaborate? Because when you look at an attack perspective, no one attack is going to be exactly the same. And if there is something that I can learn from you to be able to share with another business, right, from that perspective, they may be able to address the risk much sooner or much quicker, and not go through the same fate another organization might experience. So when we look at the whole process of reciprocity, is the more information and knowledge that I can gain, that I'm able to share with somebody else, it helps them to increase their awareness, right, of the challenges that the business may face today. And then by being able to put together strategies, we may have some level of success in terms of an attack, in terms of the success of the organization being able to operate, and just creating this pool of knowledge sharing within the industry that maybe help us to be in a better position overall.
Well, I'll tell you, Dr. Alexis, cybersecurity for a lot of people is intimidating. A lot of people I think that one of the earlier speakers talked about that because of COVID, there's been an 800% increase in usage of the internet.
Yes.
So internet's been around 20 plus years, but it just took 8 laps that it was being in use before. So now you've got a bunch of cyber hackers because it's a treasure trove of information. Plus, there's a lot of bad actors out there. Help us, when you look at this from a cultural lens, people of color and specifically people of African descent, are they going into the field? Are they intimidated by, they feel they got to be, have so much knowledge about IT from a technical standpoint that they don't want to go into the field? Talk to us about how they can get involved and kind of demystify some of these things in cybersecurity.
Sure. So I think if I was to look at the field over the last 10 years, I think one of the success metrics that I've seen is the whole issue of mentorship, right? From a cultural perspective, individuals like to be able to see themselves represented. So when you look at organization and those individuals that are at the top, they may think of it as a scarcity, but there's a lot of brothers and sisters who's in positions across the field. The challenge is that sometimes you just don't see them or you just don't know them. I remember when I was running a local organization here in South Florida for many years, I had the opportunity to just reach out to individuals who was doing big things within the space, right? Who happened to look like me. And in my situation, I've had some success in the sense of being able to just reach out and say, hey, I'm putting together this program. I'm trying to make sure that there's representation across the field when I go and select my speakers, when I select my topics. Would you be willing to come? Right? And he just said yes. This is a person who's at the top of his game based on previous roles that he was in, and up to today we still kind of communicate. He's like an older mentor who have some expertise, so I lean on him a lot. So if I'm going to do some speaking and it's a topic that I know he's very versed in, I'm able to reach out to him and say, hey, I'm trying to find a speaker or need you to be in a panel, and he's just willing to just, if he has the capability and the time, he'll just show up, right? And that's a great opportunity when you look at the whole process of reciprocity, because if I have something now because he has helped me, I'm always willing to reach out to him because I understand some of the things that he's trying to put together. And Michael Eku, and Eku is a gentleman that I've worked with a couple of years back, and we still remain close. He's doing great things within the business, and he happened to be someone that looks like us, right? So being able to reach out to him, on a cold call, as you may call it, right? Yeah. And just say, hey, I'm trying to put this together. I know you're doing great things in this space, and I think it'd be a great opportunity for you to share that message with others. And he was able to, to step up to the plate and do that. And I'm forever grateful for him, right? From that perspective.
Having a culture like that, or cultivating a culture of reciprocity. So when people get involved, they're like, look, we're all going to learn, but we need to give back. That is awesome that you feel comfortable that you can reach out. You can see this person has certain cultural foundations similar to yours. And we need to cultivate this, not only, at the professional level, but at the academic level, at the K through 12 level as well, so that our community can truly understand these things. Because the more we're involved on the internet, utilize these things. You're utilizing email every day, you're utilizing social media every day. I know myself, I get like probably 4 or 5 we call them phishing with the PH, phishing emails every day. I've learned to click on it first to see where the email was actually coming from, the actual email address, before you go all the way in. Talk to us just a little bit, take a little time, just talk to us about etiquette from cybersecurity so we don't get hacked and then, have major issues with your device.
Sure. So one of the things, the first thing you start looking at is be mindful of what you install in your device, right? Make sure you go to your device. Always check for location data. Many applications may install with default settings. So one of the first things that you do is going on and say, okay, what are these applications asking for? So for many years, if you remember, there was a time where I think there was a flashlight app that was collecting your location information, right? This is a free app. And the concept from a security perspective become, why would an app that is just used to shine a light need to know where I'm at, right? From a location perspective. So you need to be mindful of those things. I think today, like you rightfully say, we're doing a lot more things online now, right? So if you go back to your concern about phishing, obviously be mindful of what you're receiving. And remember, sometimes through AI and other technology, your eyes themselves can deceive you, right? Because there's enough tech to be able to manipulate what your eyes are seeing. And, you talk about not being able to click on that link and being mindful. So if you're not expecting an attachment from me, why are you downloading that email that has an attachment, right? Because the whole idea is to have a trusted relationship sometime between the person. So they can mimic my email or my voice or something that I send you an email, say, hey, Grant, here's this invoice for some business that we are doing, right? And if they in fact know that we are doing a business, that may be a better opportunity for you to open it, right? Like recently, I was reading an article or going through a video where an individual was talking about how they got hacked, right? You receive a notification from an external counsel saying that there was some litigation or something with work, right? And here was the thing, and there was going to be a case filed against you. And being a savvy professional, the first thing he did was go to the website to search for the name of this company, which was a fake, right? So they set up a fake attorney's office with an attorney with certain types of case. And this individual was talking about how they went there and they actually clicked on this link that had like the type of cases that the company had litigated, only to realize that, the fish may have not been the email, but now he went to the website and downloaded this link that now compromised his endpoint. And there was a keylogger that was dropped on his device at the time. So like you rightfully said, I don't think we're at a point now where everything is about just bad grammar in emails. I think at the onset of this business email compromise culture, a lot of it you could see right away. The language doesn't look good. It seems out of place, but now they can, duplicate your domain, put a 1 for an I, and just basic things that would make it seem so close to you, right?
Yeah.
But as a cybersecurity professional, one of the things that I always say is, if it is up to the organization to make sure you don't click that link, right? If you're going to allow Grant to click that link, it's too late, because you're now leaving it to the customer to not take action to do things that they would do on a regular basis, right? And that in itself is a risk to the business, as opposed to putting together solutions that would address that risk before the email actually gets to Grant.
These are so important. I see you with Cyber Minds Research. I want you to talk to the audience about that, because it's so important. We want to start really cultivating the culture of this reciprocity. Sorry, mispronounced that. But we want to institute some culture. You're giving back to us now. What would you like to give back? Tell us more about Cyber Minds.
So CyberMind Research Institute is an organization where a couple of my doctoral friends decided to kind of, put together. It's a nonprofit organization, and the goal is to be able to work with organizations who may not have the technical skills or financial resources, right, to be able to address that risk. So we have, past CEOs, industry professionals who can kind of come in, have that conversation and, discuss, what are the ways for you to be able to address risk. And then as part of that, we also have a learning and an educational module where the goal is to be able to go there and help others increase their knowledge, maybe through awareness, security awareness training. Some of us are teachers at different universities across the US, and we may be able to bring those expertise in topics around, I do a lot of stuff around data privacy, governance, and risk. But you have folks who may be having educational background, who may have HR leadership background, or who may have AI and other types of expertise within the group. And the goal is to be able to just share that knowledge, right? To be, servant leaders. At the end of the day, we are at our midpoint in our career, and our goal is, how do we get back? We do a lot of speaking as well, like, opportunities like these to be able to go there and, share knowledge. We believe that the more knowledgeable the community is, there's an opportunity for everyone to be able to make better decisions. And then I think on the onset, we talk about our own data. My focus has been around data privacy, in terms of research perspective, in terms of how organizations use data, right? I think there are some challenges when we look at the concept of fundamental rights. What is a user's rights around the ability to govern how their data is collected and processed. And today, when we look at the market in terms of where it's going, I think you start seeing it from the concept of data being valuable, right? And what kind of constraint should be put in place to kind of govern how that data, is used, right? You always hear the concept is that if you're not paying for it, it's free. If you're using a services and you're not paying for that cost, there is a trade-off, right? So as a user, you need to be able to have a better control around how that data is protected, and what kind of control you can kind of establish in terms of how you share data.
This is very important information. I want to talk about what's top of mind right now, especially from a data perspective. new technology. Artificial intelligence is taking the world by storm. Chat GPT, you've got Bard, you've got Jasper AI, you've got probably now 100 to 1,000 other AI companies have just jumped out everywhere, where they have the capability of duplicating your voice, capability of duplicating your visual, your video, to make it sound like you, to make it look like you, but it's not you. That sounds to me like it's turning the cybersecurity world upside down. What's happening?
Well, it is, right? I think when you look at a lot of the stuff on the generative AI, a lot of the conversation that we've been seeing in the research field has talked about there was an initial expectation that that would be readily available on 2030, right? But I think ChatGPT has kind of set the world on fire as it relates to, I would say, the regular Joe being exposed to the technology, right? Because the idea is that there are many organizations that's been using this technology for a long time, like chatbots and all those things are not net new. But what you're seeing is that with the advent of a lot of these AI and ML kind of organizations, what does it need is a lot of data, right? And at the backbone of this organization is an organization that have access to a lot of data will be able to advance much faster as it relates technology. So when we as customers start putting our data out there in the metaverse, the challenge is like, how could you put controls around that, right? So the adaptation right now, even when I look at it from a chat GPT, there is a give and a take as it relates. Some individuals have not a optimistic view of the technology, but as a professional, I look at it as technology just reinforce what I already know, right? And it sometimes may bring in some data that may be redundant from that perspective. I look at it from a long-term perspective is around whether we're going to get to a point where those types of technology can be trained on consensual data. Right. So the challenge that we have today is that because a lot of it is using, OpenAI and other organizations that may be using data that's, publicly available. Right. So you think of it like Google. Google, if you put something on the web, the chance of it being indexed by Google is very high. Right. Unless you kind of lock it down and determine how can it be indexed or not indexed. So many of the technologies like doing those things around duplicating the voice and duplicating the eyes and other things. That's why it's going to become important long term as we start looking at some of the controls that we put around it. Because remember, at the onset, I said sometimes things that you see, you have to do a second guess, right? So it becomes that trust and verify before you really think, is that voice on the phone Dr. Weeks or not? Or could it be an AI, right? And then then you just start listening. Okay, what is it asking me to do? Is it something that Dr. Weeks would ask me to do, kind of stuff? And then, hey, let me pick up the phone and call Dr. Weeks. Even if I get this email or I get this link to take action, there's still the whole trust but verify. And if we take that approach as we move forward, I think we'll be in a better situation to address the adoption of AI and some of these technology. You just got to be mindful of what you're willing to share, right?
This is so important. We've got to have our online etiquette, just understanding what is in the public domain and then what is private. And if it's public, that means it's shared by everybody. So you want to make sure the information out there you're putting out there is shareable. Yep. And then when somebody is sharing something with you, like you said, trust and verify. I really like that. Trust and verify what it is that you're looking at consuming, because there's bad actors out there. The internet is the World Wide Web. That's what WWW stands for. And we always hear about these countries in Eastern Europe, for whatever reason, that these are these major hackers that are out there. And it seems like they've made it almost like their mission in life, a game to like, how can we disrupt the Western world and their engagement with IP or internet protocols, and see what that looks like. As a cybersecurity professional, No, would you consider yourself? I've seen these people. They have these hats on. Sometimes they're a white hacker, they're a black hacker. Help us understand this cybersecurity culture.
Well, I wouldn't consider myself a hacker. I don't think I have the expertise to call myself that. I think when I look at it from the perspective is, my goal is to work with the organizations to put the barriers in place that at least slow, the hackers down. Because, research, when we go back and look at it from research, most organization that's impacted by an event, it means that the perpetrator has been in your network for a while. So whether you think of it from a 6 months to 18 months before you actually detect them, the challenge is that they've been there for a while. You think of it from a military perspective. A lot of it, if they break into your environment, it's just a matter of, can they get out, right? So I always say everyone will have an incident. The question is, when you do have an incident, is your environment fortified enough that if they get in, they're not able to get out, right? So the concept is that, the first stage of the hack is just to exfiltrate, right? And once they exfiltrate, the idea is to bring the payload in to be able to understand what your network look like, where the weaknesses are, and that's where they're spending the time finding those vulnerabilities, right? But when you look at it from a cybersecurity hygiene, if you're doing basic things where you as an organization is going out and trying to find holes in your network, right? Why would you not be investing that time? When you look at some of the incidents that have occurred in the past, a lot of it is because of basic things. An individual didn't patch this server. And with the adoption of cloud services, what we're seeing in the market today is that everything is moving online. Everything is moving so quickly. And sometimes the individuals managing those networks really don't have a solid understanding of how system networks work, architecture work, security work, because we're trying to move so fast and it's so quick for us to adopt these technology that I call it like the click next, folks, where you click next and you just can configure an entire environment and you're up online immediately, right? But the challenge with that is that you haven't really gone to the security hygienes, looking at some of the NIST best practice, CIS controls, ISO, and other things to be able to secure that environment. So there is the issue of speed to get online, but then there's the issue of the efficiency and the security of the environment that we're going to now put online. Because like I said, if you put it online and you leave it open, it is going to get indexed. And if you get indexed, then know that information end up on the dark web, or if you're not secure in your environment, what you see happening is an individual get that information, they dump it, or they send you an email, hey, Grant, this great organization you're trying to build about business branding, I just want to let you know I have a copy of your entire database.
Yeah.
And in order to not make me expose some of your proprietary information, you need to pay me a certain amount of Bitcoin, right, to be able to address that. When you as an organization, you should have been taking those steps to secure your intellectual properties, limit who have access to what. So it comes back to that basic hygiene again, that if you're following some of those, defense in depth approach and least privileges and some of those basic concepts that we learned in Security 101, it becomes an easier challenge for you to address the risk as an organization. But if you move so fast, you're not really spending the time around who have access to what, and you are not able to see the attack. And by the time you discover the attacker has been there in your environment for a very long time, right? So how do we address that? Through awareness, through best practices, to make sure you have your Patch Tuesday stuff tight, right? Make sure you're running vulnerability analysis and make sure you can see, who's on the network. And if there's anomalies, you should be able to detect that. If Grant decides he's logging in tomorrow from a country outside of what is expected, you should be able to detect that because he ain't on vacation there. And if he's on vacation, he should not be able to connect from certain places. Right. So when you have that mindset of thinking, security is everyone's responsibility. Right. Today, I think there's a perception that, just the security team is responsible for the security of the organization. But you would want the same experience as the security guard who's sitting at the desk watching the person walking in who doesn't have an ID or who looks out of place. Right. And be able to detect those anomalies. Like, hey, everybody comes in, should have a badge. This guy say, he forget his badge, I've never seen him before, right? So just being alert and looking for those small little things is how you can kind of avoid some of the challenges that may come. Like even at home, if you think of security just like home, if you're not on your computer, there's no reason why you should be online, right? So maybe like, as soon as I get up from my computer, I disable my NIC, right? So I'm
You just
always
said it. I
trying to.
want people to understand what he just said. When you're not utilizing your computer, turn it off.
You
Right?
got to think of it like that. So just like your house, you wouldn't leave your door open, and you wouldn't leave access to your most expensive watches, Grant. I know you're a man of many nice things. You would want to make sure you secure those, right? So even if somebody was to break into your house, they shouldn't be able to get to some of those things.
Great analogy. Great analogy. You would not leave your house without locking it. And that's so important. And here we are. Some people, I say a lot of people, don't realize that if you're in a corporate environment, they usually, depending how big you are, they'll force you to change your password at least quarterly. But in small business, solopreneurs, it's up to you. Talk to us about some of those bad habits.
Sure. So, it is like I remember a couple of years ago when I was doing consulting work, one of the challenges that we would work with some small business, right? And, we had this one client who I would say who had given away $500,000. Let's just say giving it away because they didn't have appropriate controls in place to detect it. So they had an incident to phishing, and the culprit was able to be in the network for a while and kind of see how email is communicated, how vendor asks for invoice and stuff to be paid. And they were able to kind of replace the banking and routing information on one of those transactions. So when the invoice came in to be paid, they went in, they set it up, went into the email because they had sent an email asking the contractor to provide information to be paid. And when the email came in, they inadvertently changed the account number and routing information. So and that in the organization set up the money to be paid, and then only to realize later when the person said, hey, I have not been paid. And like, what you mean? We already set it up, and here is where it was, here the money was sent there. But the challenge is that in that situation, they should have had an additional control where while they're setting it up, maybe an email is sent to the person, right, to verify it. Or there was an additional person who can set it up, but for the payment, it needs to be somebody else who's in an additional, maybe the CFO position to be able to validate that, this is right before it is paid. In situations like that, a small compromise for that organization is tedious, right? As a small business today, your responsibility is to be able to do what you do best, not worrying about security. And, that's the idea behind Cyber Minds and organizations like that, to be able to provide some kind of educational opportunity and teach people these basic things, right? Because when you have a situation where an organization is breached like that, right? Think of it as a small business, right? You own a small business. Imagine if you was to lose $1 million, right? That can be devastating for a small business, right?
Yeah.
And then they may not be in a position to be able to withstand the kind of attack that maybe a Microsoft can, or not a large organization can. So in that sense, it's more or less is very important for organizations like ours or yours to be able to have the conversation with small business and say, hey, basic things we need to take, right? And some of them are mom and pop, right? Most organization in this country is, a small business form the backbone of what we do every day. So many of them are not going to be in a position to respond to or address some of the risk that, adversary may just be targeting you.
Well, I tell you what, I've learned so much. I'm going to start turning my computer off because I let it just like the screen go off, and I just leave. So I'm gonna have to turn it completely off. So
start there at least.
Yes, and before I turn you guys completely off, Dr. Weeks, how can people get in touch with you again?
So people can get to me through LinkedIn, or they can get to me through organization CyberMind, AP Weeks at cybermindinstitute.org, or they can just reach out to Grant and Grant can connect them.
Wow, that is awesome. Again, I'm going to turn my computer off completely, and I'm going to turn you guys off completely. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being on the Black Business Expo.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K through 12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students. Please, you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund or use the Cash App at $BBXUSA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. Please donate to the Black Business Expo USA Scholarship Fund.
And positioning my brand. And so one of the things I learned throughout that journey was the importance of your brand, your personal brand, and how you are perceived, in your organization. Are you perceived as someone who can operate at the executive level? Do you act that way? Do you dress that way? Do you communicate that way? Are you involved in the same interests as the other executive leaders? Do you attend those events that people don't want to go to after work that they're at? Are you involved in the philanthropic efforts that the executive leadership are involved in? You got to get plugged in, because at the end of the day, it's about relationships.
think that, as Grant said, I think entrepreneurship is definitely the most important aspect, because if we're creating things and we're not creating things that we can benefit off of, or that our children can benefit off of, or that our communities can benefit off of, then, you know, what is the point of existence, right? If we can't manifest things that are ultimately going to make our lives better as well as those around us. And entrepreneurship at its core is ownership. And without ownership, without owning and being able to turn your creations into assets, then, you know, we're really just behind the ball. And so, you know, it's my hope that that I can inspire young people, as well as those that may be mid-career and those that may be at the end of their career, to actually think about the field of technology and to think about the opportunities that exist, the low barriers to entry. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection to get in the game. And so hopefully, you know, my experience can be encouraging to others, that you don't have to have, you know, all these credentials, etc., to really produce and to surpass those that may actually have credentials as well.
Man, who's your favorite podcaster? Man, Grant, man. I love Grant's podcast. Well, who's Grant? I'm going to send you the link. I love Grant.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
The 5-star BDM LinkedIn social selling course can help you stand out and attract the right connections and opportunities. We will help you professionally create your profile, provide personalized recommendations for improvement, and help you create and share engaging content to help you showcase your skills and expertise. Our 5-step course makes connecting with industry experts, finding job opportunities, and building meaningful relationships easy. Social selling can be an effective way for you to generate leads and close deals, but it does have its challenges. Our course will help you solve the problems associated with digital networking. If you need help personalizing your outreach and messaging, which can lead to low response rates and a lack of engagement. If you need help targeting the right prospects, this course is for you. With so much noise on social media, it can be challenging to cut through the clutter and get your message in front of the right people. Our course will personalize your messaging using our targeting tools and research. You can identify and reach the right prospects. We will also show how to deliver high quality, valuable content that attracts and engages prospects and clients. The 5-star BDM LinkedIn social selling course will address these challenges by implementing best practices. As a result, you can improve your social selling efforts and generate better results. Are you looking to improve your LinkedIn profile and reach a wider audience? Social selling is an effective way for you to generate leads and close deals, but it does have its challenges. Some common problems we saw with social selling include lack of visibility. If your profile is not optimized or you're not actively participating in groups or sharing content, it can be difficult to get noticed on LinkedIn. Number 2, lack of personalization. Some businesses struggle with personalizing their outreach and messaging, which can lead to low response rates and a lack of engagement. Also, difficulty targeting the right prospects. It can be difficult to identify and target the right prospects on social media, especially if you don't have access to robust targeting tools. And number 4, outdated content. If your LinkedIn profile or content is not up to date, it can give the impression that you're not actively engaged on the platform or that your skills and experience are not current. And lastly, poor quality content and not leveraging video and picture to convey ideas. To solve these problems, the 5-star BDM LinkedIn Optimization Social Selling video course will help you focus on personalizing your outreach and messaging to better connect with prospects. In module number 1, the foundation, we will help you create high quality, valuable profile that will attract and engage. In module 2, the story, optimizing your LinkedIn profile to make sure it is complete, accurate, and visually appealing. In module number 3, the experience, using your targeting tools and research to identify and reach out to the right prospects. In module number 4, engagement, establishing a consistent follow-up process to nurture leads and build relationships over time. And lastly, in number 5, execution. Understand the metrics to help you measure your brand effectiveness. By addressing these challenges and implementing best practices, you will improve your social selling with the 5-star BDM LinkedIn Optimization Social Selling course. Listen to what others have said about 5-star BDM.
Grant, I'll tell you why I'm here, right? I'm here because I love your brand. When we started chatting on LinkedIn, we connected. I checked you out and I go, man, this guy knows what he's talking about.
You were definitely instrumental in helping to shape that knowledge of who I am. Because at first I thought, well, I am an actress. I am a writer. I am a producer. I am a speaker. And so I said, well, I must be a creative communicator. I know that there is a narrative thread here, but you nailed it when you said you are a storyteller. So you brought it all together in this cohesive title.
Sign up today to improve your social selling opportunities. I was able to grow my network to over 20,000 professionals in the field of healthcare and technology with a consistent brand presence that excites and informs my community. Become the CEO of your personal brand. You must believe in yourself.
First thing here is your image. People buy with their eyes before they spend with their wallet, right? And so the image of you online is either outdated, inaccurate, not existent. It needs to be reconciled to what it is you want to be known for and how you want to make people feel. That is the very essence of a brand. People buy into people before they buy into brand. And corporations are starting to understand that we need to teach our people how to be more active and effective on LinkedIn. We need to help and invest in them in terms of getting their image together and teach them how to promote themselves, because by promoting themselves, ultimately what they are promoting is they are promoting us, right? And so it's helping the people, helping the corporation so both can thrive.
A strong personal brand has the potential to accelerate careers and businesses, differentiate great candidates, and open doors to new connections and opportunities.
So my approach to working with my clients is really exploring a convergence of their image, their personal brand, and also their presence. So these three things together is really what differentiates me and how I approach working with my clients. Because everything that we do, everything that we say, and everything that people see communicates a micro message. You can walk into a room and not say a word, and people will immediately form an opinion about you. Whether we like it or not, it's just the reality.
Here's my question for you. Are you in the audience of your life, or are you on the center stage of your life? You can become the kind of person who does highly influential work. Your work can solve pressing problems, improve people's lives, and get noticed by important people. You could have the world's most important message or greatest story, but no one will ever see it if you don't promote and package it intelligently.
Problem is that the task and the monumental nature of the challenge is so great that so many people are in a two-track world. They've got to deliver now and learn now. And there really isn't a certification, and there's great places like Cornell, and that will give you the academic knowledge, which is necessary, of course. But it won't give you the knowledge to do something right this second and to make key decisions without fear of negative repercussions.
When brand messages are shared by employees on social media, they get 561% more reach than the same messages shared by the brand's social media channels.
I am over, operations, strategy. I have a small team. We take a look at the big picture. Well, I look at the big picture and kind of see, okay, here are opportunities, kind of work with the team. They come up with solutions. They come up with ideas. I love to brainstorm. I guess that's maybe the creative side. What I've learned is when it comes to people and technology, it seems as if when new technology comes on the scene, we may tend to use old way of thinking to apply to the new technology.
passion has been around helping communities of color and historically underrepresented and underserved communities, minority, rural, veterans, persons who are differently abled, in the intersection of education, innovation, technology, industry, and let's throw some entrepreneurship in there just for fun. See more around innovation, incubators, accelerators. I love the idea of going from innovation to commercialization.
Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.